either of my other ones.
Oh, wow.
I will have an office at my new one, but right now I have no desk and I got no Wi-Fi.
So you're pretty much standing next to the water cooler right now.
Right, pretty much. Right now I'm in the conference room. Just I got nowhere to go.
Yeah. That scruff is that's interesting, dude. I can't wait to see it grow out more. I've never seen you with facial hair, so that's gonna be interesting to see how that goes.
It's we'll see how much longer it lasts. It's probably gonna go away soon.
Yeah, so. I couldn't. I kind of let it grow for a little bit, and I had a couple of weekend runs that I let it grow out, and I couldn't hang with it. I'm like, you know what? I just got to get rid of it. It's not gonna last.
Yeah. It's I've never got to do it. Never, like normally on the road, it's too hard, and I don't like looking like this all the time. So I'm blaming it on coronavirus.
Have you worn a helmet with the scruff yet?
No, I have not. I'm gonna kill it.
Yeah.
So we haven't left. Basically, haven't done much in the last 4 weeks. So we're not even no motorcycles, no nothing right now.
Oh, well, didn't you go? You went jeeping just a little while ago, didn't you?
We went jeeping 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh, was it that long ago?
Yeah, it's already been that long. So I made a deal with my kids that we're not riding dirt bikes or anything else until coronavirus is over, just for, if they got hurt, they could potentially take up a hospital bed that somebody in need with coronavirus that, we don't want to be those people. So just kind of hanging out, relaxing right now.
Right. Yeah. It's, that's always the funny one is like I said, I've been going out and going to the desert and doing some jeeping and doing some solo camping and stuff like that. And there is that risk of, you don't want to screw up and add, unnecessary work for people that are having to deal with the coronavirus stuff. You don't want to get injured and wind up in the hospital and all that crap. But I don't know. It's kind of a give and take. The one thing that I respect the most is everybody's different opinions about how to deal with it. And I think everybody has their own way that they're dealing with it. So are you guys at the shop having to deal with anything differently there?
At the race shop right now, basically we're just, keeping it tight and under wraps. So really just keeping it down on the down low, just doing a lot of cleaning, organizing and prepping, getting things done that we've needed to get done. And for myself right now, is just trying to stay low key. I'm just trying to do my part in getting, myself and my team through the coronavirus without trying to expose ourselves or put anybody in danger. So for me, I'm just doing whatever we can to get through these times in a healthy way.
Sure. Which is good. You're at home. You're normally not at home. So now you're at home and you get to spend a lot of time with your kids and kind of enjoy that family time, right?
Yeah. Well, so I'm still working. We're at the shop every day. And then right now we're working. We're at least one day a weekend. We're still working, but it is nice to be home, not traveling, no flying. This is the longest I've ever gone without traveling. So it's pretty wild. I have gone jeeping. We've been to Big Bear. I did go drive my Can-Am a couple weeks ago just for a day run. And
cool.
But we still want to go out. My plan is to go jeeping, if not this weekend, next weekend for sure.
Well, you have to keep me posted on that. I'd like to go out. We haven't hung out in a while. I'm going to go ahead and do a little introduction here. We're a little bit into this live. My name's Randall. Most people call me RD. I'm with Axial. I'm an avid jeeper. I'm here with the one and only Casey Currie. That is a multi-winner of several different titles from, dude, I don't know. I could guess that you probably won some rock crawling titles back in the day, maybe. You've done Baja 1000. You've won that. You've won at Crandon. Great place to race. You've won at Dakar at some point, right? I think you won there, and Mint 400. You've been all over the map. So we're gonna welcome you to the show and hopefully get into some really cool questions here. We'll get some questions from the guys online over there that are tuning in to watch us, and we'll we'll kind of just fill in some blanks for everybody. One that I think, kind of as we were talking, kind of covered the whole coronavirus issue and all that bit. I think everybody's, this Axial live feed is kind of one of the ways that we're just trying to continue to live the lifestyle that we do and get out and talk with the other Jeepers, the other celebrities, the other athletes. So this is kind of something that we've been doing recently, just to try to give back to the fans of Axial and let them know that we're still in it. So welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here. It's fun. I'm a big fan of Axial, so love it all.
Yeah. We one thing we kind of talked about briefly before the show started was how we met. I was trying to remember when or how we met, and I think it might have been kind of off the radar, a Currie run or something like that up in Big Bear, where it was an invite only, and I think there was just a small group of Jeeps that we went out with. It was different than the time when we went snow wheeling, which you'll probably remember that time. But
I just went when we went snow wheeling. We actually went back down that road, but fresh snow, not icy.
Yeah. Nobody did 180s.
No one crashed or hit a tree or anything.
So, when did you get into RC cars? Have you been into RC cars your whole life, or is it just as of recent, or what?
So when I was super young, we were I was into the racing. We'd go to the local track out here in Corona and do some racing. And then I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago, when Axial came out with the Jeep, that's when it completely excited me on, what an RC car is all about, right? Because to me, what I love about RC is the fact that you can customize it any way you want. And for myself, being a big Jeep enthusiast, I love building Jeeps. I love going out and, creating things that no one else has and putting my own twist on it. With the RC cars, you can do the same thing. So everything you buy from Axial has upgraded options or ways that you can modify to make it your own. And not only that, but basically every year, the evolution in the RC, in the Axial RC car lineup is there's always something getting down the pipeline, something growing, something better. And man, it just makes it a lot of fun. So for myself, I have 2 kids that are hard on equipment and very hard on RC cars. But when we go to Axialfest and I can get my 2 boys to spend all day driving RC cars with me, I mean, that's the time that I'm never going to get back with my kids. And I love that they take the time to study on how to drive, on how to get through obstacles, and, without breaking a real Jeep, and have them drive real Jeeps. I feel that the RC car, you can do so much. You can do so many challenges with them that it brings in a complete excitement level that I'm all about. I love challenges.
Yeah, they're pretty cool to see how, as a Jeeper, you can see how they relate in a 10th scale versus the 1-to-1, versus the real scale, and what RC guys call it the 1-to-1 scale. You can take that Jeep, the RC Jeep, and you can challenge V notches or hill climbs or rock ledges or anything like that. And you can really start to see how the RC vehicle responds. And then you can quickly relate that to the 1-to-1 side of things. Have you seen anything like that between the RC world and the 1-to-1 world?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the way you drive an RC car is very similar to the way you drive, a real Jeep. And obviously, for myself, I have a full-blown RC car, Axial RC car track in my front yard of my shop. So I had 5 semi-loads of rock brought into my shop, and we built a full-blown Axial RC, track. So we built it in a way that we could race on it with the bombers and fly through it with cones. And then we made it so basically we can run it with Jeeps at a slow pace without touching the Jeep and having any any tip overs that way. So, but for myself, I feel the learning side of it is man, there's a lot of things that you do in a real Jeep that can totally go into the RC car. And that for me is fun because now it's everything you do, it's very similar to the way you do it in a real Jeep. And that to me is challenging.
Right. Well, hey, before we started the show, we talked. You were moving buildings, so you're leaving the track behind. So are you completely out of the building? Can we still go hit the course, or are you going to be building a new course at the new building?
So I'm not really sure on the new building if it's going to have the area for the RC car track, but at my house right now, we basically live on 10 acres and we're looking at building a track down by, I got an area set up for it. So basically, once I get moved out of my old building into the new building, I'll take the time to build myself a new track that is going to be way bigger than the one I have, because the one where I live, we live on a river. So basically, for myself, we're going to build a pretty ridiculous track. Actually, it's funny because just because of the timing, this weekend's the first weekend we're going to spend starting to cut down trees, cut down some things to basically, not when I say cut down trees, basically all the shrubbery, we got to cut down and trim so we can make it walkable. So we'll start this weekend.
All right. So Paul Blackner just had the perfect comment, and he said 5Ks at Casey's. So Casey Currie, you've got to host a Casey Currie Ultra 5K at your house.
Right. Dude, I would be so down for that. When I podiumed, the first year I did it, I got a podium. Now, I don't know what happened, but everybody got way faster, and I'm not going to faster, that's for sure.
Yeah, they got fast and you got slow. How about that?
Yes. Same time.
I know what you mean. I'm barely hanging on to a podium finish periodically in my age group.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay. What's your favorite Axial RC car? We've had a lot of them. You've had a lot of them. We've had you with the Axial Yetis and the Score Trophy trucks and the Jeeps and the crawlers and bombers and everything. What's your favorite that we've ever come out with for you?
Dude, honestly, I'm a big fan of the Jeep. I just love the characteristics of it. I love how real it looks, and obviously having the CRC edition and the CRC branding on there. To me, I love it. I get to go fast for a living. I get to race for a living. Every time you go fast, you got to run around with it. And for myself, and my kids, to drive the Jeeps, the RC Jeeps, it just makes it a lot of fun. I love challenges. I love the capabilities of the Jeeps. Don't get me wrong, like driving the bombers and the trophy truck and stuff, they're super fun, but man, they float. They float on top of the rocks, right? It's a lot easier to drive a bomber in the rocks than a Jeep, and that's where, for me, I love the finesse, and I love the challenge that you can put yourself in. Like going to Axialfest, you don't need to go fast. It's fun. You can sit there for 5 days, walking at basically a snail pace, having the most epic time, and to me, I love that.
Yeah, well, and that's good times with your kids. I can remember. It was one of the times back at Johnson Valley. We were out there camping out, and your uncle was there. John was there, and it was campfire time and whatnot, and we were all hanging out. And I can remember giving him one of my early Jeeps. I think it was before we actually met, and we were hanging around the campfire, and I gave it to him and let him drive it, and just kind of ignored him and let him go do his thing and have some fun with it. And he came back, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes later, and he said, "Wow, man, these are pretty fun. Do you got another battery?" He wound up killing the battery in the RC car because he was having so much fun with it, driving it around.
Yeah, no, it's real. My dad, like every time we get an opportunity, even my dad, he's all about it. At my dad's desk at Currie Enterprises, he's got his own that Axial made him with some Currie logos on it, and sits right by his desk every single day. So it's cool. We all dig it.
That's cool. Well, I want to move on to something that I'm a little bit more curious about. And that is what do you got going on in the shop over there? I know you said you moved, so that's going to kind of hinder it a little bit, but I know your shop is always busy with projects and things you got going on and things you got brewing. And I just want to know if you can share a little bit with everybody that's tuned in about what's going on behind the scenes, because not everybody gets to see that.
Yeah, so right now we're moving into a new building. So it's been a busy couple weeks. Around that, I'm building a brand new JT. It's really close to being on the ground. So we're doing a bunch of cool new stuff on it, putting big axles in it. It'll be on 40-inch tires. we're trying to make it more of a rock crawler slash, Baja runner. So we've been working on that for probably 3-4 weeks. And then on top of that, I built a brand new 67. Well, I built a new, to me, 1967 Camaro. It basically got finished around SEMA show, and then we basically fine tuning it over the last 3 weeks. Supposed to be going to the Hot Rod Power Tour with it in another month, but that just got postponed. So got the Camaro done, and then rather than that, just Can-Am stuff, doing a lot of Can-Am stuff, getting it ready to go, getting ourselves lined up to start getting ready for Dakar 2021, and just kind of getting things prepared on the Can-Am side. So we drive them so often and so many miles that this is our time to just get them all put back together, do some modifications that I need. Like we use certain computers in the car for training for the car. So getting all that mounted correctly, and just really going through everything now that we have a little time.
Wow. So the Hot Rod Show was a Currie deal, right? It's hosted,
So
sponsored by Currie?
It is a Currie Enterprise deal that they do every year. But now that I built a car, I just want to go out and try to do some fun for myself, and all my partners. I feel it's a great place to go and just get to drive and create content and have a blast, every single day that you're out on the road.
Wow, that's cool. So, are you on that JT truck? Do you think that's the new latest craze? Like, you think that's going to replace the 4-door JL, or you think it's just kind of a upper echelon of wheelers or overland? The coin phrase, or what do you think about that thing?
To me, I feel that the JT is not going to take away from anybody that's a JL owner. It's a totally different Jeep or car. For me, it's going after the truck market. So now you can be a truck owner. JL has. So now you can get the bumpers and the lift kit and the axles and the steering and the fenders in a truck. So to me, it's a completely different crowd. I don't think anybody that's a Jeep owner, like if you're going to own a Wrangler and you want to do the Rubicon or go to Moab or go to some of those technical places, the JL is going to be a better platform for most of those. But now if you're going to the desert with your family, you want to put dirt bikes in the back and tow a small trailer, then I'd say the Jeep truck is a better vehicle.
Cool. That's cool. Well, are you going to drop a Jeep truck body on your Hammer Jeep that you have?
The trophy Jeep? No, I'm not changing the body. I love the trophy Jeep. I like the way it looks. I like the way it sits. And besides putting some more power into that, after the Hammers, I had a terrible run at the Hammers. Broke a lot of stuff, and no, I love it. I'm not changing the trophy Jeep. She's staying the same.
Rad. Well, let's talk, since you brought it up. Let's talk Hammers for a second. I know you had entries in multiple different classes. I believe you at least did the Can-Am, the UTV class, and you did the Ultra 4 class, and I believe you had your trophy Jeep entered in the T1 event as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I raced Can-Am. The UTV race went very well. We ended up finishing 7th. Started 21st, and then I had a rollover. I didn't roll over, but I laid it on its side in wrecking ball. I tipped it on my side and probably lost 25-30 minutes trying to get it back over. I wedged it in between two rocks, and the winch wouldn't get it back up. So we had to wait for another competitor to show up to get it back on its wheels. Then once we got it back on the wheels, the competitor that helped me rolled over right in front of me. So we lost like another 15 minutes trying to get him on the wheels.
Yeah. Because you had to help him back. You couldn't just leave him there.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I wasn't going to leave him there on the side. So, and then we decide qualifying for the Ultra 4 race went good. And then I decided last minute, like, let's run the trophy truck race. So we entered the thing in T1, and in qualifying, I hit really, really hard on the front end. I mean, hard enough to stop the car and almost flip it over backwards. And I ended up breaking the transfer case, but I didn't know it at the time. It basically just weakened the teeth inside the T case. And then 2 miles into the trophy truck race, the teeth let go. And basically when they let go, the teeth fell in between the other teeth and then blew the transfer case apart. So
oh my gosh,
got that, put a new transfer case in it. And then we ended up going 20 miles in the Ultra 4 race on Friday, and a valve broke in half. And when it basically put the valve into the piston and blew the motor up.
Oh, wow. So you were going to run the same truck in the Ultra 4 and the T1?
Yeah, we brought everything. We basically brought a bunch of stuff to have it ready to switch over.
Wow, that's crazy. So do you that'll go into my next question of do you have any plans specifically for 2020 left? I know everything's all up in the air, but what is your 2020 schedule looking like?
Well, I don't. It's kind of changing right now, obviously with coronavirus and events. First, we're going to wait and play it out. We're not going to go out and do anything to put anybody in danger. But right now, no, I don't really know. Crandon for sure. I want to do the Baja 500. I was going to do the Sonora Rally, like a Dakar style rally. And then we're going to go to Africa in October to do some testing. But right now, kind of just waiting to play it out. So we'll see what happens. The goal, I'd say the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Moab and go jeeping as soon as we can.
Right. As soon as you can get out there. What do you think about that Crandon track? How many times have you raced there?
A lot. I've raced there a lot. I love Crandon. The cool thing is in the Ultra 4 cars, they put rocks in the back, so it makes it a ton of fun. Like, not only do you get to go do the short course stuff, which is a lot of fun and challenging in an Ultra 4 car, but then they put you in the woods, and then they put you back in these rocks, and that challenge is unreal. So it was fun. We won it last year and had a good time doing it.
Nice. I spotted for a guy that was in I think it was the super buggy class back when it was Core. If you remember Core, CORR, back then, and I got to go over to Crandon with him and work, and the start was always like that awe-inspiring dead man land rush kind of, just that weird land rush start that you don't normally see in a lot of short course races.
Yeah, no, that land rush start at Crandon is probably most exciting, most miserable thing about Crandon, because you can throw it away in turn one, and that's hard. And like, no matter how good of a start you have, it's when they say full commit, to get the whole shot there, you're not going to let off the gas. So it takes everything you have to, get the whole shot there. So it's definitely an experience.
Yeah, I remember seeing some of the Pro 2 or the Pro 4 trucks that had some pretty horrific crashes. Everybody got out okay, but obviously the trucks were totaled. I think Johnny Greaves or something like that years back had a gnarly end over, flip over, toss it through the air, disintegrated truck, coming around that first turn.
Yeah, when you hit wheel to wheel in that turn and at the speed you're going, like the car is already loading on the side so hard that when you bump them, it basically sends them at that point. And it starts as a barrel roll and then normally ends up end over end. So, and then there's a fail because basically the next turn there's a turn right behind it. So when you start flipping, you go over the K rail. Now you're on the track going the other way. That turn sucks. I mean, it's a lot of fun when you're winning.
Yeah, of course. It's a lot of fun when you get through it clean.
Yeah, definitely.
That's great. Well, what kind of stories can you share with me from the Dakar? I haven't really been able to hang out and chat with you since you had the great run at Dakar. I think this past year you got 4th in the UTV class. I think maybe the year before that you had a better finish, maybe in a different class or something.
No, we won it this year.
You won it this year. Okay.
Yeah. No, we are the first Americans to ever win in a 4-wheel drive vehicle or in a 4-wheel vehicle. So basically, 2020 Dakar. We won. We had an incredible experience, and a lot of teams strategy played into the race, and the Can-Am Maverick was a great machine. Besides a couple flat tires and one broken axle and one belt, we really never stopped. My navigator did an excellent job. We never really had any navigation issues, but it was 17 days in Saudi Arabia. The temperatures were in Fahrenheit, we're basically between 25 and 45 degrees. And, you're driving roughly 500 miles a day every single day. So we drove in total, we drove even before the race with all the liaisons and everything, we drove a total of 6,500 miles in 13 days.
Wow. That's crazy. So was there like one day that stood out to you over all of them of like, wow, this day was like the epic day, or this day is what really set us apart from the rest of the field?
Well, day one of the rally was the most interesting day of racing that I've had in a long time, just in the way that it just went perfect. I ran a super low tire pressure, and we pushed hard in the rocks, and we had no flat tires. So at the end of the day, we're like, man, this car works really, really good. And we're like, man, this is what it's going to take to win it. And I mean, really, after that, the gnarliest day of the whole race was the last day, because you're, technically in Dakar, you can throw it away 13 days in, and it's very easy to throw it all away. So, and the hard part is you got to sleep on that every single night. So when you're winning, you still have to basically sleep on the fact that you got to wake up and do it again. There's no like, oh, you get that anxious feeling but then it's all over in an hour when you're done. It's like, no, you finished for the day and now ponder what's going to happen the next day.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. I know from when I raced KOH, I know there's always those night before nerves, and, you're running the trails through your head and trying to think about everything that you've pre-ran and all the preparation and all of those things. And to have to do that 13 days in a row is probably, I don't know, that might get a little sickening to me. Like, dude, I just, you get that anxiety in your stomach of like more of the same,
Yeah. I mean, that's the difference though, is like, that's why everyone's like, oh man, the King of the Hammers is so much harder than Dakar. And it's like, to me, I'd rather race hammers 5 days in a row than go to Dakar. Just first, you're in an uncommon area. You know nothing. There's no pre-running allowed. So you think you have jitters knowing where you're going. Now imagine having no idea where you're going, but they give you basically a chart that tells you the terrain type. So okay, we're going to do 200 miles of sand dunes, 50 miles of sand flats or valleys. You're going to do 75 miles of rock, and then 50 miles of dirt road, and that's all you know. So now you got to put that together and go, okay, tire pressure, shock settings, navigation. What are we going to do? How's this going to work? Are we going to have are we going to have the right setup? Are we going to have everything going for us to make it so we don't get lost or have a problem?
Do you in that race? Do you run different tires for the particular terrain? Like, will you run? I'll go extreme. Will you run 33s or 35s in the rock sections and run paddle tires in the sand dunes, or are you limited to certain types of tires?
So you're limited on the 30-inch tires. So that's all you can do. So there is nothing like, you can only run the 30-inch tire. So, I mean, it's very limited. So because in America, I mean, we all run a 32, 33, and that it really puts it in a tough spot, because the tires are so small that it makes it a lot harder. So you got to be very careful for flat tires.
Wow. Crazy. Beadlocks, of course.
Yeah, run KMC wheel and other tires. So all the same stuff here. It's just the cars weigh a lot because of all the fuel cell and all the regulations that they have. And then you run a smaller tire. So when you run a small tire on an overweight vehicle, it limits the tire by putting all that load on it.
Yeah, I remember being at the shop and seeing the fuel cell under the seats, and that kind of made me a little bit nervous. Like, wow, really? You're just sitting on top of a 50-gallon tank or something like that?
Yeah, it's 36 gallons.
That's crazy.
So, and right below you.
That is crazy. So what's your best memory from Dakar? You just day one, you think, was probably your most memorable?
I'm going to say, I mean, the finish to the last day for me there's no Americans ever won it ever in any category. So for myself and even Ricky Brayback on the motorcycle, we both won the same day. No Americans ever won it. So to sit there and be the first, like, that was a pretty crazy accomplishment. It's in the 42 years of Dakar. This year's ceremonies was the first time they've ever played the U.S. national anthem.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely cherish that moment, huh?
Yeah, we'll keep that one in
That's
the bag.
super cool.
Yep.
So when you're back home and you're gonna go wheeling for the day, what's your local go-to trail? I know you've ran lots of trails at the Hammers, and you've probably ran every damn trail. Well, I know you've ran every damn trail, including the secret trails in Big Bear. You've done Pinion Mountain. You came across myself in a group I was leading with a Jeep stuck in the squeeze, which is, obviously a Jeep being stuck there, it's a legitimate squeeze, which was, of all places to run into you, that was probably pretty funny. But what's your go-to trail?
To me, I love Big Bear. We have a house up there in Big Bear, or my parents do. I just like being able to start. It's an hour and a half from my house to get up to Big Bear. It's always cool in Big Bear. So even in the summertime, when it gets up in the 100 degrees up in Johnson Valley, it'll be in the 70s up there. I like the big trees. John Bull. I like Rattlesnake Canyon. I like, Matina Wash. It depends on my group, right? I mean, you're the same way. If we're going to bring a bunch of Jeeps with guys in 40s and lockers and big axles, then we'll go do a little bit more challenging. But if I'm going to bring a group that they don't have 40s and stuff like that, then, I'll do something more so to make them have fun. My whole thing is it's a journey, right? It's not all about that end destination. It's about the journey while you're there. So whoever we go with, we want to make sure that everybody has the most epic adventure ever.
Yeah, I agree. When I lead groups, that's exactly what I'm after. We actually ran Rattlesnake Canyon last Sunday and did a little bit of a loop at the bottom of Burns Canyon there, and then I headed out. I don't know if you've ever headed out that trail, but it's called I think it's New Dixie Mine Road or Old Dixie Mine Road. You can actually, where Matino ends, you can actually hang a left, and it'll take you up and over through some hills and wind you back up at the 247. It's pretty cool.
Oh, no, I've not done that actually. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. So what's your favorite trail? Like everywhere you've been wheeling, is it Moab? Is there a trail in Moab? Is it the Rubicon? What's in your opinion, for me, I think right at the moment, Sand Hollow is pretty awesome, but I think for me, Rubicon is probably my favorite trail that I've ever ran so far. What's yours?
I would say, well, I love Moab because there's so much, diversity as far as terrain and trails. Like you got from, very easy trails to crazy hard trails. I love that part of it. But I mean, that's a whole area. But I'm in the same way as you. Rubicon, I love Rubicon. I love that we go there once or twice a year. Camping, the waterfalls, the lake, the rivers, and then there's challenging jeeping. So whether you're on 35s or 40s, there's twists and there's hard ways in multiple areas. So it's fun for me to be able to go up there and play on those obstacles and be with your friends. And there's no cell phone service, so it's one of the only events where no one can bug you for 3 or 4 days.
Off the grid. Yeah. What about, have you ever done the Doozy Ersham Trail or Fordyce?
Both of those trails I've done, but when I was a kid, and it's on my to-do list. Definitely want to do it. My schedule's been so crazy that it hasn't happened yet, but both of those are for sure. They're coming. I'm going to do them for sure.
Nice. Yeah, those are both still on my to-do. The one year I was going to do Doozy Ersham, it didn't open in time, and so we wound up having to go to another area another area called it was called Sand Flats OHV or something like that, and it's an off-roading area that you can go to 5 different lakes, and the only way to get to all of these lakes is to have an off-road vehicle. And there's like a Coyote Lake, Strawberry Lake, Mirror Lake, Red Lake, like all these different lakes, and the only way to get to them is with an off-road vehicle. And so when you get out there, it's kind of that same thing. You get out there and you're the only one at the lake. There's nobody else there, right? Because there's only one way in and one way out. So it's pretty cool. Like on the Rubicon, when you're off the grid, it's a great place to go.
Yeah, no, all that whole area is nice. I mean, even when we did Axialfest up there in that area, I mean, that it's to me, there's a lot of great places up there just to go out and hike and check it all out.
Right. That's cool. So tell me about, actually, one I looked up on your bio was the Winter X Games gold medal. I looked it up just a little bit on the bio, and I saw it was a Jeep related thing. And I personally didn't hear or see anything about it. I don't watch a whole lot of TV, so I didn't catch any of the X Games or anything like that. So what was the deal with that? What was that about?
So Jeep called me up like in December and go, hey, or not Jeep, X Games got a hold of me and said, hey, we're doing an invite only Jeep race. We want to bring Jeep Wranglers, like the new JL, onto the ski resort at Winter X Games, and halfway up the mountain, we want to build an obstacle course, and we want to get you and 3 other basically X Game gold medalists to come partake in this event. And we want to basically film it and make it this ultimate challenge for Jeep. And we went up there, and they literally put on a full-blown race on the ski resort halfway up the mountain. Freezing cold, driving Jeeps is pretty unbelievable. And I ended up beating everybody. So it was it was cool. It was a lot of fun. They made like all these wood obstacles. Actually, one of the guys that built the course lives in Big Bear and does a bunch of Jeeping stuff in Big Bear. And he actually built the course for X Games up there.
Oh, wow.
So,
who was that? Was that Desi or Quinn?
I can't remember the name now.
Yeah.
I'm going to totally brain fart that. I have it. Right. But yeah. So it was pretty cool. That was it was a super fun and amazing time. And for myself to get an X Games gold medal like that way, it's pretty rad.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Well, I haven't seen too many comments pop up or too many questions pop up on these live comments. I see a whole bunch of sidebars. Everybody's asking about Axialfest, if it's happening this year, if it's not happening this year. I'll say the same thing that we've been saying all along is we're still focused on having it. Can't say for sure if it's gonna not happen at the moment. Best thing to do is just kind of stay alert on our Facebook and social media pages, Instagram and whatnot. And as soon as we know otherwise, we'll definitely post up and let you know. But right at the moment, it's still a go. So do you think you'll be able to attend Axialfest if it still happens this year because everything's changing?
The plan is to go. So the only reason that I'd say I couldn't go for me now is as of today, they just changed dates again for like Score and Best of the Desert. So the only thing for myself is that, if they put a race on it, then I'm going to have to go to the race. But otherwise, I'll be there.
Right.
I love Axialfest. For me, dude, just the time going to camping and hanging out. And the courses that you guys build up there are unbelievable. The amount of time and effort, all the climbs and the trees and the PVC pipe, slide rails, all the course markings, the creek crossings, everything about Axialfest. Man, I totally enjoy. Just like you were saying earlier, it's truly like a real Jeep.
I think you missed last year, correct?
Yeah, last year we landed.
You were gonna come and something came up and you couldn't make it. But last year was a new location, which I don't know if you've ever been to Donner. Have you ever been to that area for rock crawling events?
I've driven by. We had it all scoped out. We were coming to Axialfest this year. We had everything ready to go. And then, typical deal, racing, something changed in the year that they literally put it right on top of it. Yeah.
I remember hearing about that, but you don't know what you're missing at Donner. It's definitely different than Cisco Grove. And, I frankly believe we will never be back at Cisco Grove. And that's just a thing of the past and a thing of what it was, which has some great, that has some great memories. But you'll have to come check out Donner and see what that's like.
Was it fun? Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I took away a lot of good feedback from the event. There was very little bad feedback from the event. It was definitely a different environment. There was more of a city of campers. It wasn't like spread out camping all over the place like Cisco Grove used to be. And I think that was, I think that helped the event with
Yeah.
everybody being closer together, and everybody was a little bit more family oriented, and, you know, kept the riffraff out and whatnot. I think that was a lot better. There's a lot of hill climbing because it's on a ski slope, essentially, you know, that's very rocky terrain, and it goes way up really high. So we had a shuttle running up and down the hill to get people to the top, so they didn't have to hike the bottom section and they could get to the trailheads and hike. So it was actually a really cool event. I've competed there. It was actually the original event for what used to be known as Axial West Coast Championships, which was a full-blown, it wasn't an Axial Fest, but it was a full-blown rock crawling competition. And that, you know, it was cool to go back to that spot because we hadn't been back there since, I don't know, 07 or 09 or something like that. So it was fun to go back to that event and, you know, that venue and play around on the rocks. And again, the guys that laid out all the trails did a fantastic job at putting all the trail markers down and making the trails entertaining. You know, like, you know, what you've gone to 3 or 4 of the past Axial Fests. What are some of the cool things that you remember about it? You know, is it the concourse or just the family time, or what do you take away from those events?
I mean, for me, I take away the jeeping. I mean, for me, it's just driving. I mean, just like everything else, I'm addicted to the adrenaline rush, and I love the fact that the trails get very challenging. I love that people take it seriously. That everyone's just not out there goofing off. That, you know, the courses stay the same and get harder as the week goes along. But like you're saying, having the good time at night and barbecuing and just having people come and hang out, like, man, I love hanging out. I don't get to do it very often. And for myself, just to be there and relaxing and hanging with the guys, oh man, I really enjoy that kind of stuff. And I want to do more of it. So to be there, like, just like you're saying, the camping close to everybody, it's even cooler. Like, I like the fact that everybody's close and everybody's hanging out and meeting everybody. And, you know, it just makes jeeping that much more fun.
That's cool. It's almost like, because of your busy schedule, it almost, even though it's still an event, it's almost like a vacational event for you, right?
Oh yeah, like if I can bring my motorhome and the kids and the wife, it makes it a lot of fun. So I mean,
Right.
the whole it's fun. It really is a good time.
That's cool. So will you do a 5K again? Chris Crew Jones, if you remember him from Ultra Shoes, he's asking, you going to do another 5K?
There is probably not in 2020. If I'm going back, that is a lot of work. And the guys are getting so fast and the cars are so good that it's gnarly. I mean, who knows? I say that now, and then I'll probably get there and want to race just because I want to race. But
yeah,
we'll see. It's fun though. It's cool to watch. I think the cars are getting. I mean, it's not that the cars are getting any different. It's just I think the talent level of people coming out to the event is, I mean, it's stacked. It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of cars that do it.
Yeah, there's a few fast guys at Jake Wright and Mike Thompson, and there's some other young kids coming up as well they're just fast, you know. And this past one at Donner, dude, I felt like I was going to die because it was uphill all the way up the ski slope, way up into the rocks, and then turn around and come all the way back down and then go all the way back up again. And it was like 3 laps, and I was just about ready to die. You know, I couldn't do another lap. I was ready to sit down and pass out at the end of it, but it was still fun.
Are you guys going to do the short course racing or any of the other type of racing that you guys did, like on that basketball hoop area?
At Donner, we didn't have that. We had room for a Can-Am course because we just released the Can-Am. We did that. And then we also did we did do the rock race, kind of what you're referring to on that basketball kind of area. We did do a rock race where we had a mass of guys that would drive their RC cars and run around like a short course, and they would do, you know, 3 laps or whatever it was, like a sprint to the finish. we still did that, which was a really fun event. Tons and tons and tons of entries on that one, and it went over really, really well. And I think even at the end, it was a surprising finish because one of the guys that was kind of in the back of the field, almost like a race of attrition, he just raced smart and, kind of came from the back of the field and surprisingly won, or that was at least one of the races. But yeah,
That's
dude, it was a ton of them.
That is
It was
good.
really good.
Awesome.
Chris was chiming in. Jones was chiming in something about push-ups. I don't remember anything about push-ups. Do you remember anything? He said, I had to do so many push-ups wheeling with Casey. If you blow the line, you have to do push-ups.
I think I do remember that. I think if you tipped over or had to touch your car, maybe, it's trying to create challenges.
Yeah, the one thing I remember is it was the first year that I raced the 5K, and it may have been your second year racing the 5K or something like that up at Axialfest, and we both wanted to be cool and pick our own numbers. You remember that?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I was number 69.
Yeah, you picked 69 and I picked something like 34 or something like that. And then we found out when they were lining up, Chris was like, okay, you're going to line up by your bib number. And we both looked at each other like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
We had to start at the back of the pack.
I think I do remember that. That was, I do remember that. I literally started dead last.
Yes, you were dead last.
Yes. All for the number. Still podium though. So it was good.
Yep.
It was good.
That was good. So what about that thing you're doing called, I think it's called the NASCAR Road Show. Is that what it's called? What is that?
Oh, you mean the smoke show. So, with Monster Energy being a partner of NASCAR, we go out and basically put on events at NASCAR. So we'll go out and take Can-Ams, we'll take my Camaro, take the off-road trucks, and literally we go to NASCAR events, basically just do some showcasing of off-road vehicles to the NASCAR crowd and bring a little bit of Monster Energy to the NASCAR people. So anything for that, the excitement, the thrill, try to give it to the fans that are at the NASCAR events to hopefully show them some off-road. Obviously, we go to a lot of places that don't have off-road, and just trying to get people to see the excitement and want to partake in it.
That's pretty cool. And do you do that at all the NASCAR events or just select ones?
It's only select events. Obviously, right now I have no idea. We did Fontana this year. Normally we'll go to Daytona, we'll go to Bristol, we can go to Talladega. There's a couple others, but right now I have no idea with the schedule and them not racing. We'll see what happens.
Right. So when are you going wheeling? You gonna sneak out and get away anytime soon?
If I'm hoping to have my Jeep on the ground I'm hoping next weekend. I would say it this weekend, but I'm getting my wheels tomorrow. I got to get them powder coated. And then I'd say probably by Wednesday of next week, it'll be on the ground. And then I'm ready to take my new Jeep truck and go check it out and drive it and see how it is.
Nice. You have to keep me posted. See if I can tag along with you one of those days.
Yeah, for sure. I want to go down to San Diego, go back down to those areas where those, the canyons are. And I thought there's some super fun wheeling down there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of exploration. That whole area, matter of fact, I was down there just a few weeks back, and that whole Borrego Springs State Park and the Ocotillo SVRA, all of that area is closed off. Every dirt turnoff has ribbon up and a sandwich board, and it says, posted, this area is closed. That everywhere is closed. Every obscure little dirt turnoff that I know of that I thought, oh, this might be a way to get through, they were all roped off. And there was, dude, I don't know, I probably passed a dozen rangers down there just, patrolling the area, making sure everybody stayed out.
No, it's not good. So
yeah,
maybe we won't down there. So I got a question. The 24 scale, are they doing good? Because that is a car or Jeep that we have a ton of fun with in our house. That is like the perfect, and I love that you can charge it on a cigarette lighter or on a 110 outlet. Do they do good?
Yeah, it's doing really well. Honestly, we can't keep up with the demand. We've had some technical issues with the chargers that we're sorting through with the vendors, trying to get it sorted out. It's obvious. It's all over social media that people have had, issues with their chargers and blah, blah, blah. And, we're working on it. It was actually a project that I was working on. And so I've been working with the vendor and the QC department to try to get it all sorted out and make sure that we can get a reliable charger back on the market. There's lots of alternative solutions. I know many people have been posting how they've adapted, created special adapters and made different things work to where they could plug it into a regular charger. The biggest thing to remember is to not overcharge the battery when you start doing that, because you run the risk of damaging the battery, and nobody wants a battery fire. It's a LiPo battery, so like related to chargers, I don't know if you have them, but they're these little bags. They're made by Dynamite. I think they're called like LiPo sacks or LiPo bags or something like that to charge LiPo batteries in. They're $16 or something like that. If you don't have them for any LiPo battery, I would suggest getting them. For the price that you pay for the bag and the little bit of an inconvenience it is, it prevents the fire, helps prevent the fire because it's a fire retardant bag. And I've seen people, and I know people that have had RVs burned down because they had batteries charging, in the cockpit of the RV or something, and they've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars from it. So regardless the size of the battery, you should always use, a LiPo sack or a LiPo bag to protect the batteries. But the 24 scales, dude, we just got, we released the Deadbolt, and then which is like that Bronco style kind of ish looking thing. And we released the Jeep, and then I don't know if you saw it, but we also released the C10 Chevy truck. And they're flying off the shelves because they're super, super fun to play with. Like you're saying, everybody can make a course at home.
Yeah. No, I love that part for sure. That's what I love about obviously I like them all, but that's one of the biggest thing for myself on the Axial is that you don't need a whole area that's, going 40 or 50 miles an hour, and trying to build that racetrack. You could literally take a hillside or a small planter and make an epic rock crawl course.
Yeah. I've had, I've seen and had the pleasure of playing on a few different courses that people have made. And if it's anything from a stack of books or, a bunch of logs or Lincoln logs or whatever, it's super fun to play with. One of the things I recognized at KOH this past year was I saw one of my buddies, and he had his kids playing in the RV, and they were using a bunch of little push toy monster trucks, and the kid was just playing around with these little push toy monster trucks. And I looked at it and I said, oh my gosh, you could actually be teaching your kid to drive an RC car with one of our 24 scale RC cars right now. And he doesn't have to push it around on the floor. He can actually sit back and drive the car, and it's small enough you can use it in an RV,
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we take them that, like when we go down to Mexico and we have not a lot of room in the Jeep because my wife overpacks and we have a bunch of stuff. Dude, we bring the 24 scales, put them in there. That way they charge while we're driving, and then we get down and we get out like for a stop and we'll literally pull them out and play and enjoy them. So like, dude, love the size of those. They do make a great Jeep for traveling and people that are always on the road. Obviously myself, always on the road. That's fun. It makes it fun to make it so that it's so easy to charge. It's so easy to basically store, and it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I toyed around with the idea of, I probably shouldn't say it, but I toyed around with the idea. Do you remember the old lunch pails? Like when you were growing up, you used to have a lunch pail you carried to school. I wanted to add that as part of our packaging, and then you would have a lunch pail that would have your 24 scale truck and the controller in it, and make it all all contained in one little lunch pail. So it'd bring back the whole 10 lunch pail effect. Yeah, and have it a little embossed SCX24 on it or something like that. Like that'd be pretty rad.
That would be awesome. So that's great idea, by the way. Great idea.
So I guess if you're doing a JT, I don't know. I'm gonna have to come by and look at that thing. Maybe there's something we should do there.
Right? It's gonna be fun, dude. It's a totally different beast, right? Because it's longer, so now you can go faster technically because of the wheelbase. But it gives you all the characteristics of a JL for the slow stuff, minus the ground clearance in the center. So there's potential there. It's a
Have you wheeled a JT yet?
no.
What do you think about that extra long wheelbase? I mean, it's like, dude, it's like 20 inches.
I would say it's going to help you on the steep stuff, and I think it's going to hurt you on the tight stuff. So, but I have built a Jeep truck in the past that was custom made, and I had a great time with it. So I'm excited. I really like the truck.
That's pretty cool. What's your favorite wheelbase to wheel in 1-to-1 size, right? Because you've had TJs, CJs, JKs, 4-doors, trucks. I mean, you've had them all. Do you think you probably got the opinion of like I have as well? There's goods and bads with all of them, and I personally have pretty much settled on the JK. I don't have an LJ, but I've settled on the JK is like kind of the ideal wheelbase. What's your opinion on which one's the best?
I would say, well, I mean, there's no best, but I would say the JL is probably if I was going to go anywhere, a JL is probably the most capable vehicle that I have in my fleet. So if you want to go to the Rubicon, go to Moab, you want to go to North Carolina, you want to go down to Florida, you want to go to Texas, JL can pretty much do them all. The reason I say JL is because of the comforts, right? You get the leather seats and the sealed top. The new Jeep is a very very comfortable Jeep to drive.
Right. Well, and I can't afford a JL, so I keep saying JK.
But I got a JK too, so I'm a big fan of my JK. I love driving my JK.
Yeah. I'm scrolling back through the list to see if anybody else had any other questions. We're about out of time, so I'd like to say thanks for taking the time and popping in and sharing some time with you. It worked out really cool for me because, like I said earlier, I haven't been able to swing by the shop and catch up. So this was kind of like a personal conversation at the same time as it was, let's feed the fans some info. So I appreciate you coming on, and I'm not seeing any other questions, but I think you got any questions?
I'd say if anybody has anything or has anybody wants to go wheeling or play with RC Jeeps, let me know. Well, I'm always down. So if I got free time, I'm all about adventure. So we're definitely ready to go. I'm excited for Axialfest and everything else going on. So I know Axial's got a lot of cool stuff in the pipeline and got a lot of new awesome vehicles. So I'm definitely going to be playing this summer.
Cool. Well, I'm going to Big Bear this weekend. I'm going to go drive through Big Bear. I may get sidetracked here or there, but I'm going up to look for a couple of video shoot locations, which will be kind of cool. And I can't say anything more than that. But if you're around and you feel like going out and you're done chopping hedges over at your house, let me know. Yeah, we'll hook up and do some wheeling. But that's about it, dude. I see nothing more.
I'm not racing the Silkway Rally this year. There's the Silkway Rallies right based out of China, and we're gonna just stay away from that rally.
Which rally is that one?
Silkway Rally.
Okay.
So no Silkway Rally.
Oh, I see it there. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, what do you think there's going to be any events in 2020, or do you think it's just going to postpone out to 2021?
No, I feel that there's going to be some events like for the Dakar Rally stuff. I think right now Morocco's on, which is in Africa. I feel that it should open up in the next month or so. The way it's going, I'm very hopeful that everything will open back up in the next 30 days. Not all the way. Obviously, there's going to be changes now forever, but I feel that it should be opening back up in the next 30 days, or beginning to open up.
Cool. Yeah, that's everybody's hope, right? get this done and over with. So right
Yep.
on, man. Well, I will, I'll let you go. It looks like we're just about out of time. And
I appreciate it.
what's that?
And I appreciate the phone call or the
Yeah.
phone. So thank you guys
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah. I think it's next week. Next week I'm going to be on with Cody Wagoner, which will be
Nice.
a fun conversation. Since I spot for him at We Rock. Matter of fact, do you still have a moon buggy or is it gone?
No, I'm building a new one right now. I'm building a
You
new
gonna
bug as we
you gonna
speak.
come do some competitive rock crawling?
Nope. No, I think it'd be fun to do, but I got no time. I wish I had more
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So, but maybe one day.
Right on. All right, dude. Well, we'll chat soon, and I'll make sure to swing by and check out the new shop, and come do some 5Ks over at your house. That'd be pretty rad.
You got it for sure. Thank you guys. Thank
All
everyone
right,
for
man.
support. I
Take care.
appreciate
Yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and tune in next week, and we'll have Cody Wagner on board. Thanks, Casey Currie. I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you guys so much. See y'all soon.